Morning guys, welcome back to Nichols on Tour. It's day 14 and really our full final day of this tour. We may do a couple of vlogs about where we're going in Benelim in the next few days, but this is our sort of main full day of touring. We're in the Latin Quarter of Panjim. We're staying at the Panjim Inn, which is a very traditional haveli, I guess you'd call it. Is that right?
No, I don't think so. It's just an inn.
Traditional inn anyway, 12 room inn. Yeah, very nice solarium on the roof. Yeah, it's lovely.
Charming, I would say.
So we're going to have a little wander around for half an hour on our own, and then we're going to go for a proper tour around Old Goa. Yeah, so yeah, really looking forward to it. Don't forget guys, if you're enjoying the videos, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget, I'll try and get back to you with comments and things like that. And keep subscribing. Get those numbers to 1,000. Go on.
Oh, make
day. Make my day, yeah. Okay guys, we'll catch up with you shortly. So hi guys, just starting our tour now. So we are at the Basilica of Bom Jesus
In Old Goa.
in Old Goa, about a 15-20 minute drive from our hotel, and we're going to have a little wander around. It's rather a wonderful building. Yeah, just going to take some pictures of the front of it. I've just seen it, absolutely stunning. So in a second, we're going to listen to our guide give us a 10-minute spiel about the Basilica, and it is absolutely fascinating, it really is. So I would suggest you listen to it because it is worth catching. He speaks very well and he's really quite amusing. So no photographs inside, so we'll just have to see what we get, maybe some stills on the internet.
South India, who were known as the Adil Shahs, who had started developing this place as their summer capital in around 1495. The Portuguese captured it in 1510 because it was a trading city. We had a trade of horses and spices. So Arabs used to come with Arabian horses to Goa, which were then taken to South India, and this to go back with Indian spices from here. That is why the Portuguese captured it. So when they took it over, they redeveloped this like a European city, with most of the travelers in the 1500s comparing Old Goa to Lisbon. They would say, if you see Old Goa, you don't need to go and see Lisbon. So they used to call this Lisbon of the East. But Lisbon in reality was a very big city. This was only 15.5 square kilometers walled city. So we started getting a lot of more merchants coming to do business here, and the population of the city began to grow bigger and bigger. By the year 1600, there were 200,000 people living here. For that time, the 17th century, that was a very big population. It became the downfall of the city. It became too many people in a very small space, made this a very dirty place, no proper sanitation, no hygiene here. And we started getting outbreaks of diseases which were not known to people of that time because they were not yet discovered. So now we know that it was cholera, it was malaria, it was typhoid, dysentery, it was smallpox, and the ships coming from abroad, they brought in plague. So people began dying in large numbers, and that made people panic. They could not understand why they were dying, so they began running away from here. The Portuguese tried their level best to maintain the city. They cleaned it up, they broke unwanted buildings, filled up unwanted water, smoked and fumigated all the remaining buildings and houses, and they tried to convince people who had fled to come back. But people were so frightened, they told the Portuguese in return that this place is cursed because they could not understand what was killing them. And with the death of so many people, they also said it's haunted, there are ghosts. So that's a very negative superstition, and that is why the Portuguese were forced to make another capital for Goa. So they tried a few places before they finally chose Panaji. Panaji was a small fishing village just 9 kilometers away from here. So what the Portuguese actually did was they dismantled Old Goa down. Except for these large churches, all other buildings here like houses, palaces, institutes, the fort walls, and even the small churches, they were all systematically taken down, and the stone and wood of these buildings was used for building the new capital. So what was a village became a city for us, and what was a city has now become a village. So today here, except for the big churches, nothing else. We still have 9 churches standing here. Of these 9, 3 are still functional. This is one of them, the Basilica of Bom Jesus. Across the road, we have the Cathedral of St. Catherine on the right side. When it was constructed in 1652, that was the largest church of Asia. It still stands as one of the largest in Asia, even today. And 1.5 kilometers from here, we have the Church of St. Peter. The other 6 churches are monuments, no prayers are held in them. But of the 9 standing churches, 7 are in the World Heritage List. Now, the Basilica here took 11 years to build. 1594 in November, construction work was started. 1605 in May, it was completed. So historically, this church is 49 years older than the Taj Mahal. And when it was built, there was plastering on the walls outside. So the red exposed stone that you can see was covered in white plaster. So if somebody had to come here before 1952, this church used to look like the churches across. It was all white. But then some fault in the plaster made it lift off, it began to fall down. So they decided to replaster the church. They removed all the old plaster from the walls to put it again. But when they removed it, the church looked even better without the plaster. So they decided to leave it that way. But unfortunately for us, this stone is not very strong. 72 years later, if you see it very carefully, it's beginning to crumble. You can see the weathering up there more. And it's very porous by nature. So during the monsoons, it acts like a sponge. It takes in the water. And although we have very thick, big walls, it still sends in water inside. We're getting seepage now. So Archaeological Survey of India is now debating whether we should plaster the church again. Because if they do it, then we have the seepage stopping protection will come, but the look will go. It will look very plain. So I'm not very sure what the decision is going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes white again. And this grey stone on the front facade, this comes from Bombay. This is basalt. So it was brought specifically to give a European touch to the front. So we have the classical Corinthian, Doric and the Ionic pillars that you get in Greek and Roman architecture. Now this church is dedicated to Jesus. That is why the name Bom Jesus. Good Jesus in Portuguese. Here it is baby Jesus. And this church became very important because the remains of the body of St. Francis Xavier is enshrined. Okay. He was a Spanish missionary father who was one of the co-founders of the Jesuits, and he came to Goa in 1542 as a young Jesuit missionary father, or as a missionary father. He were not still recognized. Most of his missionary work in India was South India, coastal part of Tamil Nadu and coastal part of Kerala, the 2 southern states. He also went to countries like Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia and Japan. And that is why we call him the Apostle of Asia, because it was not easy traveling that time. It was sailing ships. So imagine sailing from Goa to Indonesia. Fastest you could do was 2 months. 1 day. Yeah. So it took a long time of his life. 10 years of his life. 10 years of his life he spent in Asia going up and down from Goa. Goa became like a base for him. And while he was sailing from Goa to China in the year 1552, on a small island called Sanchiang, which is now part of South China, he died of dysentery and fever. 3rd December 1552, he passed away. Because of his nobility and because of his fame, they didn't want to leave him there. And then ships could not carry bodies. They had no storage or refrigeration. Plus, sailors didn't like bodies on ships. They had a superstition. They should think the ship would sink. So they decided to bury him on the island and later send the bones to Spain. So what they do is when they bury him on the island, they put quicklime or calcium to help the body decay faster. It's a very caustic material which destroys the flesh. After 3 months, they feel that lime has done its work. There'll be only bones inside, so they exhume the grave. And they're all shocked that even with the calcium on the body is still fresh. So it is going against what they know. They all know that the lime destroys the tissues and the skin and the flesh. So the captain of the ship, who among them was the most educated man, he felt because Francis Xavier was buried on the seashore, maybe the salt in the sea must have helped preserve it. Salt is a natural preservative, and that is what came to his mind. But that was a theory, it was not proof. So to test it, they take the body to Malacca, which is now part of Malaysia, and that is where they bury him the second time, and this time he's buried on a small hill. And the second burial is done without a coffin. They put him straight into the grave. In fact, they damaged his body the maximum then, because it's a stone-cut grave, which is smaller than what he was. He himself was small, and they forced the body through, breaking his neck. So if you see the photograph, it's like this. Then they put stones and mud on him, so the very sharp stones cut through his cheek, cut through his chest, cut through the leg. And when they actually exhumed him later, they could find the blood. So he was kept buried there for 6 months, after which they felt that since there's no sea now, it must have disintegrated. So they exhumed the grave again. He's in exactly the same condition as his body. So everybody gets frightened. They can't understand why the body is not decaying. And then they felt that we should send this body to Goa, because for the Portuguese in the 1500s, this was like the main city of Asia. So hiring a special ship, and without informing the passengers and the sailors, the body was smuggled into the captain's cabin. Only the captain of the ship knew. Nobody was told. They came to know later. That's a different story. See, passengers were scared of bodies, and the sailors had this superstition. So on high seas, On high seas, they come to know that they're carrying a body. Now, what can you do? You are in high seas. Only option for you is to jump yourself. Okay? So, but when they see the condition of the body, then they realize this is something special. And that is actually how the body arrives here. March 1554, 16 months after he's died. It's still in the same condition, which kinds of creates a sensation in the city. Everybody living here wants to have a look at it. Human nature is like that. If it had happened today, I think we would have also wanted to see this. So in a place called St. Paul's College, where only the facade of the building is left today, they opened the coffin for the public. It took 3 days for the city to view the body, so it tells you how many people were staying here. And when people see the condition of the body, they say this can only be a miracle of God, because nobody has ever seen anything like this. 16 months later, a fresh body, it's way beyond your understanding. And they said, this miracle God has made for us or made it for Goa, keep the body here. That's a primary reason why the body was kept here, because the church realized even after death, he's attracting people to him. So if we keep him here, the people who had converted will remain Christian, and it might bring in more people to Christianity. The second reason was he was Spanish. At that time, Spain and Portugal were not the best of friends. So if I could give a recent example, it's how we and Pakistan are today. And that is how, luckily for us, the body remained here. So from 1554 till date, the body is in Goa, initially kept at St. Paul's College, and then when he was canonized saint, he was brought into the church in 1624. So now it is displayed in a glass coffin, but the height is too much. So it's kept a little too high, that's why only half of the body is visible from down below. Every 10 years, they bring it down for the public to venerate it. It happened last in 2024. So 21st November 2024 till the 5th of January 2025, which is 45 days, he was on display in the opposite church. They take him to the cathedral, they keep him on a table, and the distance between the table and the barricade is just an arm's length. That's how close you can see. So you can see the whole body through the glass. Only thing now, the body is completely dehydrated or desiccated, because secretly experiments and tests were done, which the public were never disclosed. Now we know that we have a doctor, scientist wanting to know why the body is not decaying. Had a kind of an autopsy done on him. They cut him open to see what's inside. Except for the internal organs, nothing was found. But they were doctors, so they felt orally they could have put some kind of liquid preservation. And by the year 1620, every organ in his body was dissected. They didn't find anything much, but the organs went here, there, everywhere in the body. Some organs were probably never replaced back. Some samples were also sent to Europe for testing. Nothing was found there. And the cut on the stomach made the body fluids slowly to start draining out of the body. It gradually was a dehydration. Every time the body used to be brought down for the public to see, people used to feel it was looking smaller. They didn't know what had been done to it, so they said it's shrinking. That's how the stories got created. One of the most famous stories which people love to tell you even today says that the body is shrinking every year. There'll come a time it will totally disappear. That's when disaster hits Goa and everything ends up. Okay? So I don't blame those people, because they didn't know what had happened to him, but what they could see, they were saying. So now it is completely desiccated. The skin and the flesh has gone down to the bones, but you can still see the structure, you can still see his face. When they bring it down, you can see the closed eyes, you can see the nose, you can see the mouth, you can see the right ear. The left hand on the chest has got the fingers bent a little bit. They still have fingernails on them, except this index fingernail that has gone missing. Initially, nobody knew where it was, but now we know that a very wealthy landlordic Goan family removed the nail some 350 years back. Now, how they did it, we don't know, but they have it in their home even today. If you visit this house, their descendants very proudly take you to the altar of the house. They show you the nail of St. Francis, and then they tell you that it was given to them. Okay? Factually, that's not true. Nobody gives things like this. So they must have used some kind of influence to get it removed, or they could have had it stolen from him, because till 1954, people could touch his body. See, the old coffins were wooden, so every time it was brought down, they would open it. So we have 400 years of people touching him. Mostly people did it very respectfully, but like this family, there are these weird people. People who wanted holy relics because they believe it would bring blessings, protection, prosperity and good luck. Then we have people who were curious. They wanted to know whether it was really a body, whether it still had blood. So we have had incidents of people hiding needles in their fingers and poking it in him to see blood is coming out. So droplets of liquid used to come out. We have had people coming with knives and cutting skin of his leg to take home. The weirdest, this is just normal. The weirdest was a Portuguese noble lady called Dona Isabella breaking the small toe of his right leg by biting it. I mean, you don't expect a human to do things like this, but it has happened. And then the Vatican added to it. They wanted a relic of the body to be sent to Rome. So in 1614, they medically amputated his right arm at the elbow. And from here to here, it was sent to the Vatican as a relic of the body. It's only after that, in 1622, the then Pope Gregory XV canonized him. So that arm is still in Rome City in the Church of Jesus. so much of it is still there. You can see the fingers, the palm, the wrist, and just below the wrist, that also has dried. So just imagine the destruction and the damage that we have done. See, if you only had to leave him alone, which is very difficult for humans, but if you had to leave him alone, it might have survived in a better condition. But suddenly the church woke up in 1955. They brought this glass coffin from Italy, then they put him inside and then they sealed it. From 1955, nobody's touched him. And I think that is probably the best decision. Because if it was still open, we would have damaged him even further. We are like that. When we see somebody doing something, we also want to do it. Yes, ma'am. And if you feel somebody is taking something, we also want it for ourselves. So I always tell my guests, the more advanced we become as a civilization, the more stupid we behave. So we will go inside. No photographs are permitted inside the church. And I'll tell you the inside part of the church, which is the work of the local artisans. According to them. Then we have no right arm, and that's the feet. So 472 years later, without any kind of reservation to remain like this, it defies science. So I leave it up to you what you want to think. We who believe in it, we believe it's a miracle. Because according to science, all organic matter disintegrates. It does not remain like that. So by now it should have become all powder and dust. And then here we have an 1890 photograph of the exterior walls of the church. Can you see the plastering on it? On the side and in the front. The grey is the black is the grey stone that you can see. And I don't know if you have noticed it, there are two big trees growing in the compound of the church. Huge big trees are there in the compound. So when the photograph was taken, that's how small it is. So 1890 means the photograph itself is 136 years old. So it gives us a fair idea of how old the trees are. So they'll be about 140, 145 years old. You don't get evidence like this to tell us this is how old it is. Not because of the size of it, because it's one of the biggest churches of Asia, but because there was no money in between. See, the King of Portugal was the one who financed the church. So 1562 work started. 1580 Spain took over Portugal. The Spanish stopped sending the money. Work came to a standstill. So 1640, when Portugal got their own king back again, then the money started coming, and in 1652 the church was finally completed. So we have two sets of workmen who built the church. The people who started working on it never saw it complete. And people don't tell you what happened in between, they tell you that it took 90 years to build. This church has got a total of 8 chapels, unlike here where we have only 2 chapels, where one is St.Francis Xavier chapel and the opposite chapel. Here there are 4 chapels on the right wall and 4 chapels on the left wall, and then we have 7 altars. Here we have only 3 altars. So for a lay person in the cathedral, you can have 15 weddings or 15 masses at a time.
At a time, wow.
They don't do it that way, but it was designed that way. And there was a time when the whole inside of the church was colored or painted. So there were designs, there were patterns, there were figures, scenes from the Bible or saints and all were painted on the walls. Unfortunately, the rainwater leaking from the roof, and because the water table in Goa is very high, the lime mortar acts like a capillary, it sucks the water from the ground. So we had water coming from both sides, damaging all the colors. So they ran down, or they became blotched up, or they became patches. So they decided to redo it again. But there was no artist here, there was no money here. So around 180 years back, they whitewashed the inside also. So when you go inside, you will see it's mostly white. The third chapel on the right side as you walk in has not been touched. It's the biggest chapel of the cathedral. It still has got the natural dyes. And when you look at the chapel, you can understand how the church would have looked like. You have to imagine, of course, that this is how the colors were. And it's dedicated to Saint Catherine of Alexandria, who was a patron saint of the Portuguese sailors, because the day Goa was captured, 25th of November, is a feast day of Saint Catherine. This church suffered a catastrophe that the bell tower on the riverside was hit by lightning in 1776. So there's only one bell tower that is still existing. That has got the biggest bell of Goa, which is there still in the belfry. And it looks small from down below, but it was cast in a village called Kunkoli in South Goa with 5 different metals to do the casting. And the sound of it is so beautiful that the poet who heard it ring for the very first time after it was installed said the sound is golden. That's how the name came, Golden Bell. Unfortunately, the mechanism on which the bell is to swing has broken. So what they had done was tied ropes to the big thick clapper inside that taken it to the pulleys and then made a hole in the wooden floor and brought the rope right up to the first floor. And then you literally have to swing on the rope to make the bell ring. So nowadays we have very old people working in the church. They don't have that strength and energy. So for the last 3 years they have not rung the bell. Otherwise they used to ring it at 6 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon and 6:30 in the evening. So 3 interruptions. And it does look small from down below, but if you can imagine me hanging there, that's how big the bell is. Because I've been in the tower and I've been in the bell. It covers the whole of it. So it weighs 2,500 kilograms.
So we're now wandering around the convent of the Church of St. Francis of Assisi. So it's very beautiful with these rare sort of wall paintings, etc., decorating the inside of it. So yeah, absolutely stunning. That was a close-up of the bell in the tower, which our guide was explaining was big enough for him to fit inside in its entirety. So it must be about, I suppose, about 5 or 6 foot inside. But yeah, enormous. We're at the entrance of Adil Shah's palace. That's the gate there, and that's all remains. I mean, the palace has actually been completely destroyed or fallen down, one of the two. But yeah, the white building I've just shown you, that's the Viceroy's house. So we'll have a little look at that, and then that'll be it. You'll need to pause the film to have a look at the writing about the Viceroy's gate. It's quite interesting about when it was restored and what was it for, and what did it sort of commemorate and what have you. That was lovely. Well, we finished our touring for today. We're going to go and have a meal now. We've got a small walk to go to, and then we'll get to the restaurant, give you a little review when we get there. We come upstairs to try this restaurant. It's on the 2nd floor and it offers traditional Goan food. What have we got?
We've got the fish thali.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what we've got.
So there's rice and a poppadom. I recognise that.
Yeah.
There's a crab thing.
Imagine that's some sort of fish curry. I don't know what this is. White fish. Yep, Tony's eating it. It looks like white
Kingfish,
fish.
I think it is.
Uh-huh.
Then a few other bits. That's rather
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah, I think that's the prawn.
And there are
think I've
prawns in it, yeah.
I've just eaten the prawn, I think.
I might have had all the prawns from it.
I had one.
I had two.
So that was, it's called Ritz Classic Restaurant, and we had thali. So what did you think?
Lovely, very nice.
All sorts of bits and pieces.
Some
We
bits
couldn't
I
really,
didn't try.
yeah, we couldn't recognise some of the bits. It was all very tasty though, and we really enjoyed it. So if you're coming down this way, it's definitely worth a visit. Okay guys, we'll catch up with you shortly.